Hello, am I audible? Okay, I can see the lines that I'm audible. It took me a while to realize that somebody's reply does not define my worth. It took me a long time to realize that somebody's betrayal does not define my character, it does not define what kind of person I am, it defines their character. And it is solely does not mean that that person cheated on me because आई एम समथिंग लेस। और जो चीज़ होती है ना कि जब तुम्हारे साथ कोई गलत करता है तो तुम डायरेक्टली खुद को ब्लेम करने लग जाते हो। दिस कम्स फ्रॉम नॉट लविंग योर सेल्फ इनफ एंड कॉन्स्टेंटली कीपिंग योर सेल्फ ऑन अ पेडेस्टल कि अगर मैं अच्छे से रहूँगी तो मेरे साथ लोग अच्छे से रहेंगे, बट दैट इज़ नॉट हाउ थिंग्स वर्क इन लाइफ आई गेस, एंड वी ऑल हैव टू एक्सेप्ट दैट। मैं क्लाउन जैसी लग रही हूँ क्या? The one thing I've studied in biochemistry, which is really hard by the way, and I don't really want to get fail in that subject. I had my papers. I just gave my papers, and in biochemistry, I've studied dopamine. I was aware of the dopamine. Dopamine is a hormone. It is released from yada yada, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna bore you. So dopamine controls most of the things like motivation, pleasure, and if there is some problem in your dopamine release, it might cause anxiety and depression वगैरह. But the thing with dopamine is that dopamine is also released when you see text from your crush, text from the certain somebody you are expecting a reply from. Dopamine is also released when you do your hobbies, when you actually practice what you like, when you work on yourself. Dopamine also works like that. Dopamine is not really a very bad thing. Let's not label dopamine as an evil hormone, ठीक है? But the thing is, somehow somewhere eventually in the path आदत हो जाती है कि कोई तो टेक्स्ट करे and we suddenly feel happy because we feel validated, especially when it comes to crush वगैरह. If you see message from your crush, you definitely feel validated. The healthy source of dopamine is hobbies, staying in hanging around with your friends, having a good friend circle, people those who make you feel good about yourself, right? The problem begins when our source of dopamine completely depends on external sources, जो चीज़ आप कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते, like this certain somebody, how this certain somebody treats you, how this certain somebody validates you can't control that, and your dopamine is somehow dependent on them. Even though your friends tell you don't talk to this person, you'll still somehow find yourself talking to that person because somehow you feel validated, and that is causing a dopamine release, that is causing a dopamine hit, right? And your whole mood fluctuates because of how this other human being is functioning. If they are treating you right, you feel good. If they are treating you wrong, you are like a complete horrible panda person. Panda person क्या होता है? But understand that you become a vulnerable panda. And why I'm saying vulnerable panda, because you know how pandas are very clingy to their caretakers. They're cute though. I wanted a panda as a pet, but that is not happening, and that is not the topic. And why I'm emphasizing on how you feel validated because of this somebody certain else's behavior, it's because when you are told that you look pretty, it is easier to accept that, oh okay, I am pretty. But it is hard to feel that I feel pretty today because I don't know, I look like trash but I still feel pretty. Why do you always have to feel pretty when somebody else tell you that you look pretty? That is not how things are supposed to work. It is easier to build your self image from somebody else's words, but it is difficult. It is much difficult to build your own self image from scratch. Imagine करो अब तक तुम्हारे लाइफ का एजेंडा था that you have to make your parents proud. You felt like your parents validate you when you get good grades, and now you just don't know how to function as an adult human being, because most of the time you only felt validated as a kid because you won a prize, because you won in a competition, you stood first rank in your class. That is when your parents generally used to appreciate you, but now nobody's really appreciating you. How do you define your self-worth? This is where it gets a bit difficult as an adult, because most of our insecurities are really the same, literally really the same. It is most likely, what if I'm not good enough? What if the person I'm into doesn't like me back? What if I'm too much? What if I do this, I'll be judged? What if I'm weird? These thoughts, they made me very anxious, and they do make everybody feel anxious. I know, like, we all do live different lives, but somehow somewhere these thoughts are literally stuck in everybody's brain. For a while, like, for really बहुत time पहले, if you would have asked this question, like, Janvi, does love and happiness एक साथ रह सकते हैं क्या? If you are in love, you won't be happy. This is what she might have answered. And now I feel pity for my past self. I really thought that love and happiness couldn't coexist. I thought that feeling deeply, caring too much, feeling too much was a curse. But it is not. That is what it makes Janvi, right? I realized that I don't really need to change myself, but instead I need to change how I perceive people and how I perceive their idea about me. Like, somebody's opinion does not justify what kind of person I am. It is not a fact. That is just an opinion. Let opinion be an opinion. You don't have to justify that to yourself. You don't have to overthink about it. It is just that life feels very, very different when you stop chasing validation from people. It does make a huge difference. Just, if you don't feel like being around people, get ready for yourself. Go out, don't post about it. Go to a fancy solo date, go on a dinner, don't post about it. I like practiced it a lot. I was not on social media for a while, like एक हाथ साल तो मैं Instagram पर थी ही नहीं. I practiced it and it changed me for who I was and how my thoughts function. Are you getting my point? Like, when you stop thinking about कि अगर मैं ये चीज़ पोस्ट करूँगी, अगर मैं ये चीज़ स्टोरी डालूँगी, तो इफ़ यू, इट इज़ लाइक, लुक, अगर तुम्हारा गोल ये है कि you want to post the story so that the certain person looks at the story, so that you want to see this certain person's like on that story, don't post that story. You're not doing that for yourself. You're just doing that because somehow you will feel validated. Are you getting my point? Stop doing things just because you think that you'll be liked more by the other person. Just because that other person is good at dancing doesn't mean you need to practice dancing. Like, dance for yourself. That is like most amazing thing. I love dancing. But if it is for yourself, do it. If it is because you want to do it, because you want to validate somebody else. Just don't. That is how the cycle works, and it is thoda sa difficult to break this cycle. It is, I think, a lot difficult actually. And how to get out of it? Find hobbies, practice your hobbies, and practice staying at present. थोड़े टाइम के लिए ना अपना फ़ोन, अपना सब कुछ, अपने थॉट्स दूर रखो. Sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts, think about it. How does this person makes you feel? How does when people appreciate what you are doing makes you feel? People are not wrong, and even you are not wrong if you are feeling validated. It is just, the point is, if you are feeling much more confident when people validate you, that is a temporary confidence. And if the confidence is not coming from within, it is just a temporary confidence. आज तुमको लोग वैलिडेट कर रहे इसलिए यू फील कॉन्फिडेंट, कल तुमको जाकर लोग कुछ पीठ पीछे बात करेंगे तो यू विल फील bad about yourself, you'll feel underconfident. That is what I'm trying to convey. I was like sitting somewhere, I don't know where I was, but मेरे दिमाग में ना एक अचानक से ख्याल आया कि मैं यहाँ से घर जाते जाते लिटरली एक्सीडेंट में मर सकती हूँ. And all I am thinking about is whether that person have texted me or not. And I felt like I was cursing myself actually. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, हाँ गालियाँ दी मैंने खुद को. But honestly, that is kind of sad. When you feel like you are not really understood, when you feel lonely, you do chase validation from outside. It is hard to validate yourself. But life is a process. Life is not 2-4 दिन की चीज़ है ना. तो life is all about learning, and I wish that we all learn through this journey. We all learn to validate ourselves first, and let's pour into our cup first. Like, that is how self-love begins, right? So in short, get a life, not in an insulting way, but in a most beautiful way. Build a life which is so full of you, which is so full of yourself, so full of your essence, that one person's reply no longer has power. Build a life so full that one person's reply no longer has the power to determine how you feel about yourself. Build a life so full that one person's reply does not have power to make yourself feel full about yourself. To determine how you feel about yourself. Build a life that feels so full that a person's reply does not determine how you feel about yourself. So with that, I guess I've did a lot of yapping in this video. So with that, take care and bye bye.